What is going on, Babylonians? It's me, Songs of Rays, back with another video to bring to you for Babylon, and that's right, we're going to be looking at Battlefield 2042 and everything that we pretty much know for this game that's going to be coming out, especially with the beta that's just around the corner, which we'll be getting into in this video. We're going to tell you about all the new features that are going to be happening, how the healing kind of works, all the kind of operators that are going to be taken, because it seems like they're going to be doing away with the classes, and we're actually going to be more operator or specialist kind of focused in this game. So it's going to be really interesting. Stay here for every single bit of information that you need for Battlefield 2042 as soon as that drops. And make sure that you are subscribed to the channel for any more of these Battlefield videos that we're going to be doing in the future, because as soon as the beta drops, we'll be doing some more content as to like how the weapons work, how the gameplay's kind of changed from previous titles. And on top of that, as soon as the game drops, we will be doing more informational guides as well. So make sure you stay here for your one-stop shop for everything that is Battlefield 2042. Let's get into it. Alright, so we've got 5 out of the 10 specialists been made known to us as to how they're going to work and how they're going to play and what kind of kit they're going to be bringing with them. We do have another 5 that are yet to be announced to ourselves, but we'll see if that actually gets dropped in the beta or if it's going to be coming a little bit later on. So we can potentially speculate down in the comment section below as to what the other 5 are actually going to be bringing to the table. So let's get started. Let's have a look at Kimball Irish Graves, who brings the fortification system, which includes a DCS deployable cover which protects you from bullets and explosives, and he also has an APS-36 shoot-down Sentinel, which takes down explosive projectiles. So the deployable cover should, in essence, kind of work similar to the deployable shield that you have in Rainbow Six Siege, and the APS-36 shoot-down Sentinel should work similar to Jaeger with his ADS, be able to take down any kind of explosives that come anywhere near. So these are going to be very useful for being able to hold off objectives, more of like a defensive kind of character by the sounds of things. And then this really ties into the perk that we can see from here, which is a Veteran, which provides armor with additional bonuses from downed enemies. So the idea is that you're obviously going to be a little bit harder to kill, and then obviously for every single kill that you go, by the sounds of things, I suggest that you're probably going to be having to walk up next to an enemy that you've finished off, and then you'll be able to get those additional bonuses. What those are, not too sure just yet, so we'll be interested to see what comes out of that. Next up we have Webster Mackey, who has the grappling hook, and this one is the one that's got me interested in the most at the moment, because depending on if there's any kind of like limitations as to what weapons you can take in and out, this kit sounds really good, and I imagine the majority of people are going to be playing with this character. So the grappling hook fires a rope that attaches to surfaces. When attached, the rope is retracted and the player gets pulled towards the attach points. Now this is going to be work different to how Pathfinder works in Apex Legends, where you're able to swing yourself around and gain a bit of momentum. The grappling hook, from what we know so far, will literally be kind of like a dying light. So it will attach and then you get pulled to that ledge. So no swinging, no like doing loop-de-loops around like cranes or anything like that. But still, it's going to help massively with maneuverability and doing like kind of flank plays as well. And then on top of that, they have the perk of Nimble, which allows the player to move more quickly when aiming down sights, further enhancing their speed-related advantages. So Webster is going to be your main aggressive class, and I imagine a lot of people are going to be keeping these kind of perks around just to be able to help them get around the battlefield a lot quicker. If we move on there, we've got Maria Falk, who has the S21 Surette pistol, where firing a syringe at friendlies to provide healing. If it's fired at an enemy, the syringe will do damage. Now there is a little bit extra on this from what I've seen from some of the notes that have been passing around. If you miss with the syringe, it will actually get embedded into the worlds. It will stay there until someone runs over it and actually collect health. Now, that side of things will work for both friendlies and enemies. So you've got to be careful as to obviously how you shoot, but a direct impact on an enemy with the syringe will do damage. As to how much damage, we're not too sure. I imagine it will be roughly the same as about the heal, but I can't see it being like a one-hit kind of down or anything like that. On top of that, they have the perk of Combat Surgeon, which allows the player to return downed allies to combat with full health from reviving instead of like a tiny sliver, so just like one bullet. So that's going to be really good. If you're more of a support player, I think Maria is going to be the main one for you, but it's going to be interesting obviously to see what kind of loadouts these characters are going to be bringing before anyone really makes a choice. Next up, we've got Piotr Boris Gustovsky. I've probably absolutely butchered that name, but hey ho, we'll see what happens. Piotr brings the SG-36 Sentry Gun, which automatically spots and engages enemy targets detected within a certain area. It's going to be interesting to see how they balance that in terms of like the amount of damage or the amount of range, or like how quickly it spots enemies, all that kind of thing. So we'll know a little bit more about that as soon as the beta hits, but it sounds a bit overpowered in certain situations, but if it doesn't do too much damage and it's more of like a deterrent, then that's not too bad, I suppose. And then on top of that, he has the perk of Sentry Operator, where it spots the enemy target when the sentry gun locks on to the enemy in question. So this helps if he's holding down a certain area, he's staying nearby to his sentry gun, he's able to know where people are through walls, similar to like how the spot system worked in like Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 1 and 5. So that pretty much wraps up that, and then last up so far we have Wikus Casper Van Dale, who has the OVP Recon Drone, which spots nearby moving enemies and can disorient enemies by using EMP blasts, and can be also used to designate targets for lock-on weapons. So this kind of is a soft flam mixed in with a drone. And also, it's kind of like an echo drone. A lot of these things are very similar to Rainbow Six Siege, ironically. Or they draw some comparisons anyway. But it allows you to do like what the soft flam used to do back in like Battlefield 3, where you were able to like laser designate certain targets. It'll be interesting to see if we're going to have a javelin launcher back in this game, because I had so much fun with that back when Battlefield 3 was a thing. And then on top of that, obviously, you can use it for reconnaissance missions as well. And then on top of that, they also have the movement sensor, which alerts the player to approaching enemies, both while boots on the ground and when piloting the recon drone. So obviously, you're always going to know what's in your general vicinity as soon as you put down this movement sensor. So a lot of recon kind of perks. So it just, and there's a lot of things that fit into this to be able to depend on what kind of playstyle you go for. You've got your defensive playstyle, you've got your aggressive, you've got your recon, you've got your healing, you've got your support, and it's interesting to see what the other 5 would potentially be, because these kind of fill out what the original roles that Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, and I suppose Battlefield 1 and 5 to a certain extent, all those kind of fit. So I'm curious as to what other ideas you may have as to what the other 5 could be. What kind of areas do you think they're missing with these current specialists? So healing has been talked about in Battlefield 2042, which is actually one of the things I was not expecting to actually see a little bit of chatter about. And that's because they may have changed things up a little bit. So if we go quickly into like the notes that the Battlefield website already mentions, you also have your auto heal. So obviously after a small amount of damage, small amount of delay, after you've taken damage, you or allies can actually begin to heal back to full health. But it does take time. But obviously if you take damage, it starts the timer back all over again. So obviously that is nothing new. That is something that's been in the game for a little while. So obviously we already knew about that part. Next up is when they talk about healing gadgets, and obviously this is where they throw in the Surette pistol. But obviously that is brand new, as far as I'm aware, to Battlefield. Obviously it's not brand new to other games. We obviously have Doc that's in Rainbow Six Siege. Like I said, we're drawing comparisons to Rainbow Six Siege of all things. But in terms of that when it came to Battlefield, you had multiple ways of being able to heal. Now, you used to be able to have, for example, in Battlefield 4, which is probably going to be the closest comparison to Battlefield 2042 that we're going to find, you used to have small medic bags that were just kind of one use and then one and done, but it healed that target a lot quicker than the medic bags. And obviously the medic bags were deployed on the floor, and they healed a group of people as long as they were stood near it, but it healed them a lot slower, but it healed more people than compared to, obviously, the smaller medic bags. So, but when I've had a read off the notes that are here, it sounds like they're just combining it all into one. So we've got medic crates, which are boxes that you can use to help heal your teammates, and you throw them on the ground, similar to like the big mass medic bags that you used to have, and when an injured teammate moves over, they gain HP for a short duration. But there is a cooldown after healing takes place, so you won't be able to use another medic crate immediately, so it's not like you can just spam a whole line of medic bags and everything and just have continuous health regen. And same note regarding avoiding further damage during the healing period. So then it goes on to the Surette pistol, which allows Maria's able to heal herself, but she can also shoot friendly targets to heal them at range, and if she misses the target, a syringe will land on the ground, which can then be used by friend or foe, similar to how I mentioned, but obviously it can deal damage as well if it's a direct hit to the enemy. So just keep in mind that when the beta does come around, we might see a change into the healing mechanics. It's only going to be a slight change by the sounds of things, but it is something obviously to be aware of, especially if it's different to any of the other Battlefield games that we've played recently. Now, one of the interesting features that's coming with Battlefield 2042 is how the changes to not weapon spawns, but to vehicle spawns. So usually in previous Battlefield titles, there used to be specific spawns, specific vehicles for all these maps, and only specific. And obviously, if you were lucky enough to be in the spawn menu, you were able to jump straight into that driver's seat and obviously take command of it. Now, what they're planning to do is kind of take that and throw it almost out the window, because that means every single player right now in Battlefield 2042 is able to spawn in their own vehicle of obviously their choosing. Now it's going to be interesting to see how they balance this, and obviously how in terms of like numbers and all that, how it's going to work. If they went more like the Battlefront 2 kind of side of things, so obviously there's only so many allowed at a certain time, but obviously you have to earn points or something like that to that extent to be able to call one in, I'd be okay with that kind of system. I think that would be quite fun. Obviously you've earned that vehicle, you can then go around and take it or something like that. Or if it's kind of done on like a resources side of things for a team, that could also work as well, because obviously then you can strategically plan what kind of vehicle you want to be able to deploy. Maybe it's one per squad, maybe there's so many things, and we won't know for exact until the beta actually does drop, but it does raise some intriguing questions, and I can't wait to get my teeth into it to be able to find out how many tanks we can actually spawn all in at once. Now on top of that, it does mention that you can actually spawn these vehicles on top of enemies, which is interesting. Obviously I'm sure there's going to be some kind of way to be able to paint the area for where you want to be able to deploy this tank or that kind of thing, so it's not like you can just like cross map just randomly drop a tank on someone, but obviously they would then gain control of that tank, so it's not really going to be worth it in that kind of sense, but it should be interesting. And obviously there might be some interesting Reddit clips that will probably go around after all if that actually does come out, so we'll make our judgment on that when the beta actually does drop, which is this week. Another cool feature that's going to be coming when Battlefield 2042 drops is going to be the Battlefield Plus system. Now the Plus system is very misleading in terms of its name, but it makes sense as soon as you see it, which basically brings up your weapon, you bring it to your side, you get like a plus kind of symbol on your gun, and obviously you can then change your sights, which are on the upside. You've got the right hand side, which is to do with magazines, you've got downwards, which is to do with grips, and left hand side is to do with muzzle attachments. And it's going to be interesting to see what you can actually take out with you, if those combinations are stuff that you can be able to make yourself, and it's not something that's already predetermined by the game. Now obviously this allows you to be able to change your weapon platform from something that's long range to short range on the fly. You could do this in like an elevator, you could do this before you go storm a building, etc, etc, but it means that you can actually now have a weapon that's kitted to pretty much every single situation that you're going to find. And I think that was the main thing when it came to things like Battlefield 4. You kind of wanted a zoom optic, but when you went on to like you went into like the main part of like Metro, for example, and it started getting a bit close quarters, you didn't want that zoom optic anymore on that gun. So having this kind of functionality in this game is going to be amazing. I really cannot wait for this. So they have announced that the default controls for this will be on PC if you hold down the T key, and then you use your left click to be able to select which ones, and then as soon as you let go of the T key, it then obviously puts those attachments onto your gun. For Xbox it's going to be the left button, and obviously using directional buttons to select, and then when it's PlayStation it'll be the L1 button and obviously the directional buttons as well. So as soon as you let go of those buttons, everything that you've just changed over will then actually happen on your gun. So it's going to be amazing. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. Now, if everything I have just mentioned sounds amazing to you and you cannot wait to be able to get your teeth into this game just like I can't, then you'll be pleased to know that Battlefield 2042 will release on 19th of November. Now, that's obviously a month and a half away at this moment in time, but it's not too bad in the grand scheme of things. On top of that, we also do have a beta that's obviously going to be dropping, and that will be next week. If you have already pre-ordered the game, you can get access on the 6th of October, and I believe you can preload it on the 5th, so you are ready and waiting to be able to get in as soon as those servers go live. And if you are looking to be able to take on the open beta because you haven't pre-ordered and you haven't got that bonus, then I believe it's from the 8th of October. So make sure you head over there. We will definitely be doing some videos. We will definitely try our best to be able to cover it. We may even do a stream or two of it, just because Battlefield is something that I'm really looking forward to, and I really hope that the channel actually does appreciate how good this game's going to be, especially with the fact it's going to have crossplay built into it. Now, touching on crossplay, we do need to mention that the beta has been warned that crossplay will not be enabled for that, so it will be purely PC will be playing with PC, Xbox will be with Xbox, and PS4 and PS5 will be with their own kind of channels respectively. Now, as soon as the game does drop, crossplay should be enabled. That's what we're being told. So make sure you're all set, make sure you've got your friends group already ready, and just have a little bit of blast with the beta. If it's something you're interested in, make sure you get your pre-orders in, because you also will get early access to the game as well, depending on the certain type of the version of the game that you're about to buy. And we will definitely be interested to be able to play with some of you subscribers that are out there, so make sure you head over to our Discord, and you'll find that link down in our video description below. So that is it, Babylonians. That is everything that we need to know right now for Battlefield 2042. And as soon as that beta drops, we will definitely be doing some more videos and being able to get those guides out to you as soon as possible so that you know everything that you need to know to be able to drop right into that battlefield. As always, we want to say thank you very much to the Babylonian members, and they will be showing their names right up on the screen right now. And make sure that you are subscribed to the channel for any more news and any more updates that come out in the meantime. As always, keep yourself safe, keep yourself well, and I'll see you all on that next video.